Any improvements? It's due to be updated early next year.
Ruth Sutherland from the charity Samaritans joins us from our London newsroom. Morning to you. And Stephen Hadgood, whose son Christopher took his own life when he was just 26, joins us here as well. And he chairs Papyrus, an organisation which helps people who've lost someone to suicide. Morning both. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Stephen, first of all to you, if you would just tell us a little bit about your son, because you didn't know, but he had attempted this beforehand, hadn't he?
That's right, yes. And I think after he died, we discovered that he'd been suffering from depression from the age of 13. But like other men, he kept it quiet. He was ashamed of how he felt, so he didn't want to tell people about it. And so I was working from home. I was a prison governor when I got a text from him to say he was sorry, he loved me, goodbye. And at that point, he ended his life. And it's just such an awful experience to go through.
And now you've devoted your time to a charity trying to help other people who might be in the same sort of situation as
Yes,
your son was.
you're correct in the sense that Papyrus is a suicide prevention charity. We're not actually there to support people who've lost someone from suicide, although we do. I end up talking to lots of parents who've lost children, and so I really welcome this report, because I think for the first time this report takes suicide seriously, and I think that's really great. It takes seriously the damage and the distress it causes those of us who've been touched by suicide.
Let's just talk to Ruth as well. Samaritans obviously for many years have been taking this very seriously. Do you think there need to be big changes into how we talk about it and the way it's dealt with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been 14,400 deaths since the government introduced the National Suicide Prevention Strategy. There's nothing wrong with the strategy itself, it's just the implementation. And we're really pleased that the Select Committee has taken our kind of core ask very seriously. There needs to be leadership at local level, but also at national level. Suicide is a public health issue of epic proportion, and it's everybody's business. And the government now has the opportunity to make this strategy come alive and actually have an impact. We've heard about the epic impact that suicide has on families, and Samaritans listens to 5.4 million contacts a year from people in distress, and at last the government seems to be waking up, and hopefully something will happen now.
One of the things you've talked about is missed opportunities, that many of the people you've spoken to, there have been missed opportunities. Why are there missed opportunities? Is there an easy answer to that?
Suicide is very complex. There is no one kind of reason why somebody might take their own life. But what we do know is that it's very difficult for people to discuss those real inner dark thoughts that they have with people. So Samaritans provides that confidential, non-judgmental space where people can talk about this. Suicidal thoughts are actually quite common. About 1 in 6 of the population are thought to have those thoughts. And thank goodness that amount of people doesn't translate into the actual figures. But at over 6,000 deaths a year, this is still 3 times as many people as die in road traffic accidents. And just think about all the things that we do to prevent road traffic accidents, from traffic lights, from teaching children to cross the road. When we get to the point that we're taking suicide prevention that seriously, then we'll start to see a reduction in that loss of life.
Steve, one of the issues is the way suicide is reported and dealt with by the media. How do you see that as an issue?
I think we often we know that talking about the means is not a good thing to do. To talk about suicide is a great thing. To raise awareness, to be open about suicide is very important. But it's not important, it's not good to talk about means. And what happens is you'll see there's a local death, and you'll see a picture of a bridge or a picture of where the person ended their life, and that is not a good thing for other young people to see. And so those things we argue that they shouldn't be too graphic in media reporting about how someone killed themselves.
It's almost, you feel sometimes it's glamorised.
Yes, it is, yes. Certainly, if it's a really attractive young lady or young man, you'll see their picture all over the paper. Why would this person who's so attractive, so good looking, want to end their life? And yes, it is glamorised, unfortunately.
Just really briefly, Ruth, coming up to Christmas can be a particularly difficult time for people. Have you got any message?
Yeah, it is a really difficult time for people. I think that if you know somebody in your circle who's lost somebody, think especially hard about how you're going to include them in your celebrations over the Christmas time. Christmas is also a great time for volunteering, and Samaritan volunteers, 21,000 of them all over the country, will be working all through Christmas 24/7, and we're always there. So if anybody is alone, anybody needs to talk, they know where to come.
Bruce Sutherland, thank you very much, and Stephen as well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you this morning. And the Department of Health has told us they are investing almost £1 billion in providing mental health support in A&E and home-based crisis care, and also in the process of updating that suicide prevention strategy we're telling you about as well. NHS England has also set a goal to reduce suicides by 10% by the year 2020.
It's 18 minutes past